Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Reese, and I'm an account executive here at FieldClock, and I am so excited for you to join Nico and I in our webinar, From the Vine to the Bottom Line. I'm excited to walk you through FieldClock, how we got started, where we are, and how we can really help streamline some of your operations, especially those of you who are capturing time, attendance, and productivity with pen and paper. Just in case you have any questions, if you look towards the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a little question mark with a Q&A. If you can just add your questions there, and at the end, Nico and I will do a little Q&A for you guys just to answer some specific questions that you may have. All right. What is FieldClock? So for those of you who are unfamiliar, FieldClock is an app-based timekeeping system that was created by farmers for farmers. And for those of you who are using any tools on your farm that are not ag specific, you really know and understand how important it is for you to work with a system that knows who you are and what you're doing. So FieldClock got started out in the Pacific Northwest. We have three founders, one of which his name is Ryan. He and his wife have an apple, pear, and cherry orchard, and they were going out in the morning to hand out their time cards. They were capturing piecework, so they would have to capture those little pieces of paper throughout the day. And at the end of the day, when the majority of all of their employees went home, he, his wife, and a group of their employees would actually tally up all of the little slips of paper and record everything down. From there, his wife would enter everything in the system so that this way they were up to date with their production and making sure that they were paying their employees appropriately. And as you can imagine, this is an incredibly time-consuming process, and they thought there has to be a better way. So they started off with our app in 2015 of just trying to find something that works for the very difficult calculations that farming has. Minimum wage rate adjustments, piecework break pay, you name it. So we cut our teeth on that. We started working with just a group of farmers in the local area, making sure that the app worked for them and functioned appropriately. And by 2017, we went live with it. From there, we've really built onto our system. And one of the things that I love about FieldClock is that we're always learning by talking to our community, by talking to our customers, by talking to farms of all shapes and sizes. Based on these conversations, we're always making our app better and functioning in an environment that's constantly changing. Two other things I'd like to point out on our timeline here. Based on those conversations with small farms, we found that a lot of our farmers really struggle when it comes to large payroll systems because they don't know who they are, they don't know how they operate, and therefore they struggle to utilize them. So we've partnered with the powerhouse ADP to be able to provide that a payroll system for small farms that really does work and understand their operation. And I'll get into that towards the end of our presentation. The second thing I'd like to point out is our partnership with Farm Bureau. We are now a member benefit for 21 states. So if you have a Farm Bureau member ID, we provide a discount, and I am very excited to partner with such an amazing grassroots organization that really promotes agriculture. So as I mentioned, we are not only do we have member benefits, or are we a member benefit for over 21 states, we also work with farms that are all shapes and sizes. So we started out in the Pacific Northwest with apples, pears, and cherries. But what we quickly realized is that this system is so configurable that it works with farms of all shapes and sizes, of all different commodities. So whether you have hundreds or thousands of employees with an intense ERP system or systems that need to communicate, or you're a small family farm with just a handful of employees that are just really spread out and it's difficult to get their time cards at the end of the week. FieldClock offers a suite of tools that really allow us to configure this so that it works for you and your unique operation. So let's talk about the cost in pen and paper. About 96% of farms in the United States are small family farms operating with a handful of employees. The majority of those family farms are still capturing time and attendance with pen and paper. And what that looks like is either a punch system or a time card that your employees are responsible for filling out. From there, you have to take and gather their time cards. You have to add everything up and then put it in your Excel spreadsheet of some sort before you run payroll. Now, if you're a farm that is capturing piecework, you have to calculate and grab all those little pieces of paper and add them up and make sure that your minimum wage adjustments are done, that your piecework break pay is done, that your employees are receiving their minimum wage. All of these things you're having to do manually. And the more you have to do manually, the more opportunity there will be for errors. And it's no fault of our own. It's just a very difficult thing. For me, I was running an apple and peach orchard in New Jersey, and I was thankful that we paid straight time, but still you have your employees clock in at 7:47 and leave at 4:32. You know, having to add those extra minutes and all of that fun stuff is just challenging and time consuming. So from there, again, like I was saying, you have to capture your employee's day, put it into your system, and then use those numbers to run your payroll. Every step of the way, there's manual entry, there's room for errors. From there, you process your payroll and your taxes are based on your payroll. So if you've had to guesstimate, if there are errors, those errors can be compounding by the time you get to that point. Also, you're using your payroll, you're using your time in, time out, all of those data points to be able to stay compliant when it comes to wage and hour. Now, when you're handling this when you're using pen and paper, it's really difficult for you to stay compliant or at least pull that information in a meaningful way when you need it. And that's really why FieldClock exists. We want to make it really easy for your employees to tell you where they are, what they're doing, so that this way it's easy for you to pay them. So like I mentioned, FieldClock offers a suite of tools. A couple of highlights. Our apps are available in both English and Spanish. You're not relying on your employee to download a Spanish version or an English version. If your device is in English, the app is in English. If your device is in Spanish, our app is in Spanish. We also work offline. So if you're in an area that is really remote and you don't have great cell reception, not only do we continue to work offline, but we're not requiring your employees to remember to push this information through to the system. FieldClock auto syncs. So we're constantly trying to grab their information. So if they're within connectivity, that means that you're going to have some real-time data on the back end. If they're not have Wi-Fi or cell, as soon as they are back into that area of connectivity, we're going to pull that information without your employees having to remember to do yet another thing. So FieldClock offers a suite of tools that helps your unique operation. And unlike other systems that are out there, we don't piecemeal anything. We give you this host of tools so that this way you can find what fits and feels right for your operation. We offer a mobile app that can be used by independent employees to clock themselves in or out. It can be used by a crew boss, a supervisor, or foreman to clock your employees in while they're out in the field. It can also be used by those same individuals or your harvest crew with multi-user access to be able to capture production and ticketing in real time. And again, this same mobile app can be used by the owner of you yourself if you want to see where your people are and what they're doing. Or let's say you work off farm and you'd like to know what's going on the farm while you're working another job. You have that visibility. We also offer a kiosk app, and this is meant for clocking in and clocking out in an independent way at a standalone location. So a lot of our customers are using this at packing facilities, warehouses, or even just the general shop, and it replaces the time card completely. They get there in the morning, they clock in using a PIN and photo or a little QR code like this, where they simply let you know they're there. They can clock out for lunch, clock back in, or whatever you'd like to do. But all of that information is going to go right back to our admin site. And I love that our admin site is accessible from wherever you are. So as long as you can log into fieldclock.com, you can log into the admin site where you can see all of this information. You can run reports, and this is also where you're going to begin to run your payroll. And I'll talk about payroll again a little bit later. The last piece that we have is our proprietary employee portal. The employee portal is meant to create visibility between yourself and your employees so that this way they can see the hours that they've worked. If there are any errors or corrections that they need to make, they'll let you know prior to you running payroll. Also, if you are paying by the pound, paying by the piece, you name it, they'll also be able to see their production as well and say, hey, look, I picked 4 buckets, you only paid me for 3. But they'll be able to quickly identify that something is wrong. And if something is wrong, they will absolutely let you know. So what FieldClock does and how we put these pieces together. Like I mentioned, this is a digitized system. So labor tracking now is in the field. There's no longer having to guess because it's done in real time. So there's no missed punches or guesswork. It's done in real time. I'm here, I'm leaving, and it's done. There's no more having to remember their hours or remember where they were, because again, they have instant access. And that also means when their day is done, their day is done, especially for those operations who are paying piecework. You don't have to grab those little time cards at the end of the day or grab those little punches at the end of the day and add them all up and give your employees credit for them. No, you can capture productivity in real time so that when your employee's day is done, it's done. And at the end of the day, you can make real-time decisions. So again, like I said, that information is going to come easily from your employees. It's going to be accessible in real time to you and your staff or whoever has access to it. And from there, you're going to be able to run your payroll. So FieldClock works with over 3 dozen payroll systems. So we provide those payroll export files for you to use your existing payroll system. So again, reducing manual entry on that end. Because we make it easy to run payroll, and because your employees have the accuracy of their timestamps, time in and time out, you're going to be able to stay in compliance. Additionally, with having your reports accessible in one location, it's going to be really easy for you to pull them when and if you need them. So now for me, I was working at a pick your own facility, and during our harvest season, we were open 7 days a week. So I had to find pockets of time to get my reports done, to calculate payroll for over 85 employees. Yeah, it's not that difficult, but it's time consuming. And a lot of times I had to do it after hours. And I don't know about you, but having to work after work is terrible, especially when you've got 2 little kids at home that really want to see you and hang out. So for me, not having to calculate payroll, not having to do those extra reports meant time spent with my family. So I know that Blaine here is talking about how his bookkeeper went from 20 hours down to 2 hours during harvest. That's amazing, especially to reduce his labor costs. But for me and maybe you, if you're doing this yourself, this is time you could be spending doing something else with your family, getting caught up on chores during the harvest season that you kind of let go. Either way, it's definitely going to help streamline some things. So we found this pretty interesting. Like I mentioned, we work with farms all over the country of every shape and size. And we do work with a lot of farmers and growers that are utilizing the H2A system. And we found this interesting because labor expense on average increases anywhere from 3 to 6% a year. And we all know that the cost of labor could not be any higher. With a system like FieldClock, we give you instant reports, instant accessibility to see how your operation is performing and to be able to start maximizing on your existing labor force. So what I mean by that is if let's say you're paying production, you're paying piecework, you'll be able to quickly identify who your top performers are. Maybe those are the ones that you invite back next year. Or if you know who your low performers are, now you can either create expectations for them or work on training to help them move a little bit faster. It allows you to manipulate your existing labor force so that you can really maximize how much you can maximize on it, especially with how much you're paying everybody and your cost of labor. So calculating the true cost of labor on your vineyard. So what we like to call block level tracking or job costing, this is going to be able to help you measure how long your crews spend in each field. So again, your employees are going to have this mobile app which is going to tell you where they are and what they're doing. And that's going to allocate their labor expense appropriately for you. So you'll be able to track how many bins or whatever unit of measure that you're picking per block. You'll help prevent over or underpaying your crews based on inaccurate record keeping, because again, now this is done all in real time. And for those of you who are using traceability and who are concerned with food safety, this is really the start of that traceability and food safety process, because now you'll know exactly who picked it, where, and when, and you'll be able to tie it all the way back. It really helps you to make smarter growing decisions as well. So you'll be able to see how each block is performing, how maybe minor changes in your fertigation or irrigation process, changes with that system, how does that impact production? How are some varieties doing compared to another variety? Additionally, we give you the ability to create really, really easy to access reports, and all of those reports are exportable. From a compliance standpoint, your employees' time in, time out is all time stamped and it's backed up so that this way you'll be able to pull records quickly and easy for any audits or anything like that you have. Speaking of labor law compliance and audits, we all know that, let's say you're using a farm labor contractor. We all know that even though you may be using a farm labor contractor, you're still liable. You still need to be able to provide documentation and be able to show breaks and wage rates and make sure that what you're doing in your farm you're staying compliant. FieldClock allows you to do that because our system helps you configure your pay rates so that you're compliant with the state, you're compliant federally. So that this way, any specific breaks you have record of, any wage rate adjustments, again, those are automatically done for you so that this way there's no errors. And again, we provide the audit-ready transparency. So you have someone pop up and show up on your farm, you're now able to go back into your history and say, okay, Ashley was working on April 15th on this day, this time. You can actually see her timestamps here. What else would you like to see? Not only can you pull it up right in front of them, you can offer to print it out and you can offer to email them as well. And we all know that the faster you can get wage and hour off your farm, the better off you're going to be. So if you can pull records quickly and easily, it's certainly going to help with that process. So I mentioned earlier in our timeline, FieldClock payroll powered by ADP. Although we do work with over 36 payroll systems, we have found that these mid-size and larger farms have specialized payroll systems that are focused on farms and farming. And up until this point, small farms haven't had access to these similar services. And we know this because we talk to small farms every day. Believe it or not, I've had clients tell me that their payroll system didn't know what a 943 tax filer is. And that's really challenging. It's also really challenging when you have a question to call your payroll provider. Sometimes you're speaking to people that are in another country. A lot of the times when you call today and when you call tomorrow, you're talking to two different people that may have two different answers. And that's really challenging. And even more than that, if your payroll provider doesn't understand agriculture, they may not understand those nuanced needs that you have. So keeping this in mind, we partnered with ADP to give you peace of mind and the powerhouse that is ADP, but also to have a great point of contact, because you're not contacting ADP, you're contacting FieldClock at this point. We know who you are, we know how your system operates, and we're able to answer those questions for you. If for some reason you ask us a question that we don't know the answer to, we're able to utilize our direct channel through to ADP to be able to find out that answer, get back to you quickly. And what I like the most about this process is that if we have another customer ask us that same question, now we have the answer quickly and readily available for them. If you are handling your payroll yourself, if your mom or mother-in-law handles your payroll for you, I understand that this transition may be difficult. It's kind of like how when I was growing up, we had a dishwasher and my mom used it as a drying rack. I get it. However, the dishwasher saves me time and I like to use it. So ADP is there to be able to help with payroll. They help with your taxes, your both quarterly, yearly tax filings. They offer multiple ways to pay your people. So whether that's through direct deposits, live checks, or even pay cards if that's helpful, especially for our H2A guest worker visa program. Either way, if you're interested in it, please let us know. The one thing that I would like to mention is that we talked about the suite of tools that FieldClock provides. Our timekeeping tools are all housed under one suite. If you are interested in payroll, it is a separate line item. Just like you can use your own payroll system, it's just a separate line item, and we can certainly go over pricing if at all you're interested in it. But that's all I have right now. But I do know that Nico's been monitoring our Q&A section. So I'm not sure if we have any questions, but I'd love to answer them if you have any.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, Ashley, but we did have some folks here. Let me just pull this down. So I'm looking at all the questions. I'll probably we'll just go in order as they came in. And thank you to everybody on the call here for using this. Let's go with Eli. He's asking, how granular are the permission controls? I need my ranch managers to see costs, but not other employees.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have individual roles set up for each of your employees, which is going to restrict or grant access appropriately. So for that supervisor, that ranch manager, we can set them up as a crew boss or a manager where they only have access maybe to approve jobs and to finalize things, but they really can't get into the back end. But also keep in mind too, your employees, your harvest employees that are simply there clocking in and working, they don't have access to the system at all. It's simply clocking themselves in and out, and they would only have access to the employee portal, which is just going to show their specific hours. So we're going to give you the control you need and the tools you need to modify those roles however you best see fit.
Excellent. Gavin is asking if a frost event delays bud break, how flexible is scheduling and task reassignment inside the app?
Oh, very, very quickly. So we make it easy to modify those tasks. So if you've created tasks for the day and you need to adjust them, push them back, remove them, it's very easy to make quick edits or even delete tasks altogether. So that the ability to make quick changes is at your fingertips.
Nice. Oh, Brooke is thinking of the future. I like this. Brooke is asking, how does the platform scale if we acquire a neighboring vineyard and we double our acreage next year?
Oh, that's awesome. So within FieldClock, we're going to be able to configure your account however you need it. You can have as many ranches or as many locations in the system as you need. It's very, very easy to add another location, to geofence it and add your tasks to it. So part of our implementation or our training is we'll work with you one-on-one to set up your account, configure it, and then teach you how to use it. But that may not be something that you do every day. So let's say this is new and exciting and you haven't added a new location in a while. You'd simply just give our support team a call and they'll walk you through it in real time. You can even schedule time to meet with them. Our support is no additional cost at all. In fact, we want you to call us when you need us.
Yeah, and Brooke, if you're concerned about the price and the cost, we don't actually charge for acreage. So you can acquire as much acreage as you want next year. We're kind of hoping that you do. The cool
Yeah.
thing about FieldClock is the platform scales up and down in pricing based on active employees in that month. So, for example, off-harvest months, you're going to be paying for probably a much lower cost per month because you're only paying for those employees that are doing the tasks like the pruning and weeding, just the minimal tasks. It will go up during harvest, but only during those weeks when you have more crew. So it's really dependent on the number of people that are clocking in and out in that given month. So we definitely applaud your efforts to acquire more vineyards and hoping we can help you out in that capacity next year.
Yeah, and something else to mention, if you're using QuickBooks Payroll, many of you have to deactivate employees to not be charged for them. That is
Uh,
not the same thing for Field Clock. An
Good call.
active
Yeah.
employee is an employee that clocks in once during the month, and if they don't clock in the next month, they're no longer considered active. So there's nothing for you to do, and we're not looking for ways to just charge you for more employees. We make it really easy so you don't have to think about it.
Love that. That's a great call out. Another usage question. Nadia is asking, can supervisors attach photos to job logs? She's thinking in parentheses here, she put mildew hotspots.
Oh, absolutely. They can absolutely add photos that are going to be geo-pinned. So let's say they're out in the vineyard, they see a hotspot, they can add a photo. That photo is going to be geo-pinned. So this way you can then create another task for chemical application or, not preventative maintenance at this point, but just being able to go out and to treat that area appropriately. If you wanted something a little bit more bust too, those same notes, those same ability to have pictures, we call them advanced quality control notes. And you can even grade your grapes based by color or whatever it is. So that's a really easy process and something that's readily available in our system.
Awesome. Ben is asking, how does the app handle piece rate and hourly pay on the same shift for mixed vineyard tasks?
Yeah, great. Well, we have a 42-page document all about how FieldClock handles those intense configurations. But ultimately, your employees can switch between hourly and piecework jobs within the same day. And based on those configurations, we'll put the whole day together so that this way they are paid appropriately and are within compliance or following your H2A contract, if you will.
Nice. We get this one a lot. So Cole is asking, how do you prevent workers from clocking in before reaching the designated gathering point?
Oh, that's great. So as we build and configure your account, we'll essentially geofence your location. one of the features that you can turn on or turn off is the ability to prevent your employees from clocking in until they're actually at that location. Again, this is something that is very specific to you and your operation. If you want that turned on, turn it on. If you don't have to have it turned on. However, every time your employees interact with our system, it'll also be a geo pin. So a lot of times our customers will start off by just reviewing where their employees are, so where their geo pin is. And if they find that their employees are taking advantage of it, then they're able to turn this feature on so that this way they can't clock in until they're actually there.
It's actually typing, so a follow-up, he's typing a follow-up question here that says, can supervisors clock in an entire crew at once during pre-dawn starts to save time?
Yeah, so I mean that's a tricky question in general. One of the things that I'll always say is make sure that you understand your state guidance and compliance, right? Because a lot of times you're going to want to show that variation in clocking in and clocking out. That being said, we do make it easy to clock in large groups of people quickly. Your crew boss can either select their name from a list of their recent employees that they've been working with, or again, they have something like this. It's a badge. So they come up to the crew boss and quickly just scan in. And it's a very, very quick and fast process.
Love it. You had a slide earlier, Ash, about our reporting, and Aaron is asking, can I schedule automated PDF reports to hit my email every Friday at 5 p.m.?
Yes.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Last one here. So Mason is asking, how often do you release updates, and will they disrupt operations during critical pick windows?
Ooh, that's a really great question. I do know that we release updates, but we are very, very mindful of employees and their harvest times. And oftentimes updates will be during down hours and are minimally disruptive. And please forgive me, I don't know what this is, but we have a very, very high percentage of uptime with minimal disruptions.
Yeah, and it's really device specific too. So Android and Apple App Store, obviously you handle your device updates or your app updates a little bit differently, but most of the apps that I've ever used, I use an iPhone, pretty minimally invasive when they're updating. And I can't remember for FieldClock the last sweeping update that we put out there that really altered the basic functionality of the app. It's really bug fixes, feature updates, things like that. So
Mhm.
pretty minimally invasive, especially during harvest time and pick windows. But that's actually, yep, that was the last one. I appreciate we had a pretty engaged audience today. I appreciate all of the questions and definitely thank you, Ashley, for taking the time to go through. And we do a lot of these webinars for a variety of crops because we understand that farmers have very unique and specific requirements depending on the crops that they grow and harvest annually. And some of our clients grow multiple crops. So we're really trying to make a concerted effort here to show people exactly how unique and how customized you can get. But if you have specific questions for Ashley, please feel free and reach out, contact information right there at the bottom, and we'd be happy to run a demo that's very specifically tailored to your business.
Absolutely.
Thanks again. We'll look forward to the next one.
Thank you for your time.